Who is this, and what have they done with Spider-Man? What's up, nerd fan? This is your boy Gershon, and I want to welcome you to Enter the Nerd, where we talk about characters in cartoons, anime, manga, movies, whatever you like. Now, if you like any of that stuff, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can get some more of this content. Now, today, I want to talk to you about my favorite hero in the world, Spider-Man. Now, I've made a video before talking about him in terms of like what stories you should read if you want to know more about him. But today, I want to talk about something that's kind of been bugging me, and that's his portrayal in the MCU. And a lot of people have been applauding it, and they just like the fact that he's in there and they're just doing random storylines with him. But I've got to say, I'm not impressed, and I'll tell you why. First, I want to say that I don't actually have a problem with Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland's actually a great choice in terms of his acting ability and his age, which is what I was most excited about, because I figured, okay, now we're gonna have somebody who can actually grow with the role. He can play high school Peter, college Peter, and then young adult Peter, and then, almost 30 Peter. If, they wanted to go that route, it's now available. And he has tons of range, and you get it. He can play tons of different things. I like that. But they've chosen just to have Spider-Man by name, right? Like, yes, his name is Peter. Yes, he's in a Spider-Man costume, but doesn't even have all the powers and stuff, right? Like, notably absent the spider sense, which we're going to talk about later, while that's very important. And he's being used as more of a set piece for the MCU rather than really fleshing out his rogues gallery and understanding the type of struggle that Peter really goes through. Now, I want to go into exactly what those things are right now. First things first, where the hell is Uncle Ben, right? Now, we get it. He's probably dead already. That's perfectly understandable. Do we have to see the whole shooting scene again? No, we don't have to see that again. But he's not even referenced. Understand that Uncle Ben is the single most important person besides Aunt May to influence him in his entire career thus far as a superhero. Because that whole, loosely translated, with great power comes great responsibility, not translated, paraphrase, because obviously that's not exactly how it goes, but we understand the message, right? So why that's so important is because throughout his entire superhero career, he's wanted to quit because it interferes with his personal life. It's caused him a lot of pain. And remember, he got these powers in his formative years as a teenager. So in real life, it's one of the reasons why he's my favorite character. Is like, I resonated with, the growing pains that comes with him being a hero. Like, he's a teenager, trying, doesn't feel good about himself, trying to talk to girls, blah, blah, and all that. Now he has to save the city. Now he has to fight dangerous criminals. So he's trying to figure out how to be, a human and a hero at the same time, which is absolutely nuts, right? That struggle's not entirely played up upon. And Uncle Ben, when he says that famous line to him, it's what keeps him going up until this day. Because it's times when, once again, he wants to figuratively and literally hang up the suit. And there's times where he's done it, but that just keeps ringing in his head because he's like, if I have these powers, it's my duty to protect people. I have to do it. If I can make the world a safer place, who am I to not do something like that, right? Got it. But where is that here? Instead of Uncle Ben, we have Tony Stark. Don't have a problem with Tony Stark as his own character, but if you know the source material, which I know some people want to say, it doesn't have to be exactly like the source material. You're right, it does't. But everything you like, any character, any story you like, has like a source material when that is adapted from, right? That is, this guy Herschel I know would call, it's the Bible for the characters. That's what you have to go for. You have to go with that, or at least you have to reference that. So Tony Stark was never like his mentor. One of the biggest things about Spider-Man is that he's always been trying to figure this out along the way. Now, Peter Parker has had mentors, because he has kind of like daddy issues, like whether it's Kirk Connors or Harry Osborn and even Otto Octavius. Like, he's always looked up to like intelligent dudes who always have like a dark side, because he kind of sees that in himself as well too. It's very complicated, like, and kind of depressing because once again he's lost a whole bunch of loved ones and stuff too. Notably Gwen Stacy and her father and a whole bunch of other stuff. But still, sticking to the Tony Stark thing, that's not a thing. It's not his mentor. And you saw it in Far From Home. He was like, "Can I live up to be the hero he is?" That's never been a thing. That's never been a thing. So I hate that, because now he's like Iron Boy. And they keep on putting mentors with him. Like Mysterio was a mentor for him for a little bit. And now it's rumored that Doctor Strange will be in Spider-Man 3 as another mentor. It's like, stop doing that to the character. Like, he's literally somebody completely different. Like, because of this stuff, he's literally not who he was. Like, he's not this person just trying to figure it out, and has learned. One of the big things about him also is that he learns more about himself as a person and a hero through all of the villains that he's faced. But right now, the villains he's faced are Vulture, which I didn't have a problem with, right? You have Mysterio, and that's it. Right now, right? And the only problem that I have is, like, I like Mysterio as a villain. I really do. I like the whole Sinister Six if they were going to do that. But at the end of the movie, what happened in Far From Home? They did the whole revealing of his identity. That doesn't happen. Like, that whole revealing of his identity thing doesn't happen until Civil War. And he's almost 30 by that time. He'd already been Spider-Man for like 15 years. So the gravity of that event was huge. Because remember, it wasn't revealed in the comics. He revealed it himself. So the gravity of it was different because he had kept his identity secret for such a long time for him to just reveal it on his own and then put Aunt May in danger. That's what happened in a Civil War comic. In this, it's like some expose because J. Jonah Jameson like got some footage from the Mysterio fight. It's like all the gravity is gone. It's all gone. It's gone from there, right? Something else that's missing that I talked about, the power set, right? And it's also kind of tied into his villains, Spider Sense. They call it a Spidey tingle, and they try to change like how it works. And you know, Aunt May threw the banana at him, and it hit him, and he was like, "Oh well, it doesn't work like that." Yeah, it does. They've even shown it in some of the past Spider-Man films with like Flash Thompson was trying to come after Tobey Maguire, and he just kind of felt it coming. It is like that. It's why he was able to fight Shang-Chi, not because he's as good as a fighter as him, but it was because of the Spider Sense. It's why he was able in the comics to also get to the highest levels of the Danger Room because of the Spider Sense and his agility. He did it also when he dodged a car in one of the movies too. Somebody threw a car, he didn't even see it, and he just kind of like moved out the way. The Spider Sense is also important to some of his villains because the reason why Venom is so particularly terrifying is because the suit was part of his body. His body no longer registers the suit as a threat, so he can't actually sense Venom. That's why he's such a terrible villain for him in terms of like how effective he is against Spider-Man. And the Spider Sense also becomes an emotional scar for him. So when he goes around the area where Gwen Stacy died, he feels this like the trauma. It's also trauma. He'll get his Spider Sense will actually go off in places where really traumatic stuff happened for him. So they just remove that whole part by it not being that. That's all gone, right? It's all gone. And once again, just going to the villains. Like, forgive me if I'm going a little bit back and forth. I'm trying to just stay under the umbrella of Spider-Man here. When it comes to villains, here's an entire rogues gallery. Now I know people don't. I might say Green Goblin, but you know we've already done him twice, right? Got it. You can just have Oscorp Aluminum in the background. That's okay. But are we ever gonna get a Kraven? Are we ever gonna get villains like Black Tarantula? Like, we can't even really get Venom, right? I mean, they could possibly try to morph it in there, but Venom has already appeared without him on Eddie Brock on the other side of the country, and he's already about to fight Carnage, who he couldn't fight in the comics without Spider-Man. He needed Spider-Man's help for that. So, very odd. Also, they're trying to like inject certain things a little too early. Like, I'm hearing rumors of them trying to do like their own little Spider-Verse thing, which I think got debunked by so many, but who knows? I wouldn't put it past them if they try to do that and injecting Miles Morales like sooner than later. But it's like, why? Right? Because Miles Morales in the Ultimate Universe, Peter had to die. Are they planning on killing Peter? Probably not, right? And also, when he does come into the 616 universe, like the mainstream universe, Peter Parker, once again, is much older to like kind of walk him through and guide him. Not happening. Still not. So it's like all the parameters that were met in the source material are still not being met here if he is to appear in Spider-Man 3. Because, you know, Spider-Man 3 is coming off the heels of Multiverse of Madness. So I'm guessing like what happened there is still going to wind up affecting those movies. And it's like, I get Multiverse of Madness is supposed to be, you know, maybe helping add things like the X-Men and stuff in there. But you don't have to include Spider-Man in that. Like, you don't have to do a Spider-Verse yet. Because remember, Spider-Verse in the comics, it actually happens, once again, when he's much older. Now, people might go like, okay, but why can't it happen when he's younger? Because the gravity of it will not be the same. Because it comes at the back of all his other experiences. It's what helps him get through this. He hasn't experienced much. They might go, okay, but what about what happened in the Avengers? What happened? He was dead. He was dead in Infinity War. He wasn't there during most of Endgame. Okay? Where are all his Spider-Man experiences? He needs more of those. Which is, to be honest, when they said that the MCU and Sony might not be working together, I wasn't that upset because I thought maybe, even though Sony hadn't done like a terrific job with Spider-Man before, I was like, maybe they could just focus on him and really just flesh out his lore, because he has tons. He's kind of like the X-Men. The X-Men, you know, they crossed over with the Avengers and stuff, but they have so much lore and their own mythology that they don't have to. You can have movies just with their own villains and their own issues, and Spider-Man is no different. But right now, it's like they just crossing, it's just all crossover. He can be by himself, and then when you need him to get over there, then do that. It's like he hasn't gotten a chance to be himself yet, and that's what really gets me, because he has tons of character, tons of great villains, and I think they're honestly just misusing him. Even the old Spider-Man films, they weren't perfect, I'm not gonna say that, but the one crush they didn't have was to try and fit into a larger universe. And even if the movies weren't very good, the vision was these are still Spider-Man movies, and I appreciate that. I'm not saying that like all the MCU, like I don't agree with everything that MCU is doing. They've done some pretty cool decisions that weren't direct to source material. I'm gonna say that. It doesn't have to be directly to source material, but there are certain things about certain characters that can't be changed, because that is what makes them that character. And you can say that about really anything, whether it's Harry Potter or a Transformer, whatever it is you're gonna look at. They have identifying features, physical and with their character. So yeah, I mean, that's really all I'm gonna say about that. Let me know. I know some people might not agree because they love everything about the MCU and they just want to see him on screen. And believe me, I wanted to see him on screen, but I also want to see all these characters get, you know, represented correctly, like, you know, from the source material. And that's not too much to ask. Am I asking too much by saying, hey, reference more of the source material and not just to do something different, or to not have the material be as heavy? Because there are a lot of heavy things that Spider-Man has to deal with, but it's like he's not really dealing with any of that stuff. Like, they're trying to forego that. Maybe, I'm not sure if that's a Disney thing or a Sony decision, but I would like to see more of that. But all right, I'm gonna end it here. Let me know if you agree. If you don't, let's have a conversation still. And hey, just remember, keep loving superheroes, read the comics, like the source material, read all the other stuff too, and don't forget to enter the nerd.